It's April 29, 2024, about 11 a.m. and I'm here back in the boat shed to try to finish up painting the bottom of my 1972 Allied Princess 36 Seaquestor. Whether or not I get finished today is going to depend on how my lower back feels. I was here Saturday and got a good start on it, but my lower back sort of gave out. It told me time to quit. So today, hopefully, I'll get this job finished and we can move on to the next project that needs to be done before we launch the boat in hopefully a little less than 2 weeks. Haven't finalized the date yet. I wanted to finish the bottom paint before I did that. So I'm going to get out here and paint. And let me turn the camera around and we'll have a look at what is left to do. It's going to be a little hard to see. Maybe we'll be able to see it better from the other side. So what I've done is I have painted the hull back to this first stand. And if you look down the keel, you can see a line down there where the paint color changes very subtly. So I have to go from this stand and about 2 feet down from the water line back to basically the prop aperture. And I'm figuring that's going to take me about an hour per side. So it shouldn't be too bad to get this project finished today. I'm hoping that I'll be able to be home by about 2 for a late lunch. So it's going to take a little while. I am going to start on the starboard side because that's the side away from the dock. It gets more light and consequently also gets more growth. So if I run out of paint with just a little bit of this port side left, it won't be that big a problem. But I think I have plenty of paint. So first step is I'm going to stir the paint up and then we'll start painting. And I'll come back briefly when I finish the starboard side. Okay, I'm ready to start painting now. I just moved all 6 stands so that they are sitting on areas that I painted on Saturday. So that what we have is, I can paint where the stands were. And I'll do a short video at the end of this one, or after I finish painting today, on how to move boat stands. It's really not that difficult and not at all dangerous if you know what you're doing. So I'm going to paint and I'll come back when I finish this side. Well, that went very quickly, about 20 minutes maybe, and the starboard side is finished. You can see the fresh wet paint there, and she's looking pretty good. So I'm going to do the port side now, and another half hour at the most, and the hull will be painted. Now I'm doing this hull painting in 2 stages. I'm just using the roller by itself for the first bit going down, maybe 3 feet down from the current painted edge. And then I put an extension handle on it, which is just a broom handle from a push broom I had at home, that allows me to do the rest of the hull down lower and on the keel without bending over as much. Much easier on the lower back. So I'm just taking a short break, get my back straightened out, and we'll do the port side. Okay, whole job took a little over an hour today, and the hull is painted. This is the starboard side. Let's go over and take a look at the port side where the light is a little better. And this is the side I just finished. And you can see the wet paint there. It's going to need a little more time to dry. Now the only thing I have left to do today is to move the stands back to where I want them. But got the whole hull done and painted. Bottom of the keel too. The only parts of the bottom of the keel that aren't painted is where it's sitting on the blocking. And we'll get that when we go to launch. But anyway, she's done. And as far as bottom paint is concerned, boat's ready to go in the water. All that remains really is to change that zinc, test run the engine, and then any other cosmetic work I want to do. I am, as I mentioned in earlier videos, probably going to repaint this boot stripe because I'm not happy with it. So, Seaquestor is bottom painted. Now, I did it in 2 sessions, largely because I'm an old geezer in my 70s and my lower back does not like bending over and doing this work. Even with a 5-foot extension handle on my roller, my lower back is complaining now from doing this. But it wasn't a big job. Altogether, painting the bottom probably took me 2.5 hours, and that includes masking the water line and pulling the tape, which I have now done. So, how much paint did I use? Well, I used about 7/8 of a gallon. I debated just putting the last little bit here on the bow, on the leading edge of the keel and stuff, but I've already got 2 coats there, so just be a waste of paint, really. So I'll just save it. It'll still be good next year. I've got it well sealed, and I stuck my propane torch in there and filled it up with propane to displace air, which will keep the paint from drying out. And anyway, so Seaquestor's bottom is painted. So what it cost me? Well, the paint cost me $103. I used 2 roller covers. They were $7 each, so that takes me up to $117. And I probably used about $3 worth of masking tape. About 20 yards, about half a roll of masking tape. And so the actual paint job cost me about 120 bucks and about 2.5 hours of my labor. And so, which isn't too bad. I mean, I don't feel like I really spent too much money. Well, oh, I forgot, there's also sales tax, so that's another $7. So $127 to paint the bottom on Seaquestor this year, which, when you consider how much a yard charges to do it, I've heard people paying, you know, $1,000 to paint the bottom on a boat this size, which is insane if you ask me. I think $127 is reasonable, particularly since we do this every year. Here in Maine, the boat is out of the water for 6 months. So, you know, we clean it up, pressure wash it, and with ablative paint, that's all you really need to do, unless you have a spot you want to sand out like I did with the waterline area this year. But I probably won't do that for another 27 years, which means I'm probably not ever going to do it again. So anyway, there she is, ready to go. Okay, well, that wraps up painting the bottom of Seaquestor. I don't have a lot left to do before the boat can go in the water. Probably about 2 hours work, and then the boat can go in. And then, of course, there's quite a bit of work that I can do, but I still have to do, but it can all be done in the water. So we will definitely get into the water, weather permitting, by May 15, and we should be out sailing before the end of the month, assuming the weather doesn't really stink in the second half of May, because I do want to put my sails on before I go out sailing. And that's going to be exciting this year, because last year I had an issue with my Genoa. I had to take it off for one of the hurricanes that came through here, and when I took it off, I realized it had a lot of damage. So I took it home and stitched it up by hand, and it worked, but it doesn't look great. So we broke down and ordered a new one. And of course, it arrived the day after we hauled the boat out. So I have a brand new Genoa to put on Seaquestor this year. And so that's going to be exciting to see what that new sail looks like. I remember when we put the Last Genoa on new, it made a huge difference in how the boat sails. Much less heeling moment, and the boat just sailed much more quickly, or at least it seemed like it did. Remember, fast in a sailboat this size is 8 knots, or about 9 miles an hour, and slow is about 5 miles an hour. So we're not talking blazing speeds, although it can feel pretty fast. Okay, that wraps it up for today. Hope you found this little process interesting. Not that I didn't show you any of the painting, because, you know, everybody has seen somebody rolling paint on. And right now, I'm just waiting for the paint to dry. Really exciting. Okay, I'm going to end this. Thanks for watching.